Do you believe it's possible to attract love without looking for it? What if the key isn't chasing, waiting for messages, or begging for attention, but simply a baby version of you that is already loved? This story will make you rethink everything you understand about destiny, love, and manifestation. What you are about to hear may seem unbelievable, but maybe, deep down, you know that this is how things really work. This channel is not just about stories. It's about hidden codes that are behind the reality you live in. And perhaps, without realizing it, you have been trying to decipher them for years. Here, each case is a key, a clue, a mirror of what you may also be experiencing. Today, what you are about to hear seems impossible. But when you understand the universal laws, the impossible becomes just misunderstood. She didn't script messages. She didn't try to control the results. In fact, she stopped chasing and started to live as if she were already in a relationship. As if the love of her life already existed inside her. She began to treat herself as someone she loved, to walk with the lightness of someone who had already been chosen. And it was in this space of internal security, in this frequency of silent certainty, that he appeared in a completely unlikely way, unexpected, as if he had been pulled by an invisible force. He looked at her and said, "I always felt that I was already your husband." And in that moment, she understood. The universe does not respond to what you wish for. It responds to what you want, and the vibration you emanate shapes the reality. You live. Have you ever been through this? Have you ever had the feeling that you were about to experience something great and didn't even know how to explain it? Maybe what you're feeling now is that same vibrational code getting ready to manifest. Because when you're aligned with love, not the desperate desire, but the awareness of already being love, reality responds in a way that seems magical. But it's not. It's mentalism. It's vibration. It's pure energetic correspondence. This video is not just about a successful romance. It's about how true love is attracted, not by words, but by a state of being. Not by effort, but by vibrational coherence. And if you've ever tried to manifest love and been frustrated, you may still be vibrating absence and not presence. What you're about to discover may surprise you. Stay with me until the end, because this true story will show you, in detail, how the universe moves when you stop waiting and start the version of you that is already loved. The most amazing part is yet to come. In this video, you will discover, perhaps like never before, the silent power of law of vibration, which determines not what you want, but what you attract. You will understand why it is impossible to experience deep love while vibrating with need, fear, or doubt. And you will realize that when your frequency changes, reality obeys without hesitation. You will also feel the power of She Gives mentalism, which reveals that everything begins in the mind. Thoughts, internal images, invisible beliefs are what have woven, until now, every encounter or disagreement that you have experienced. When you learn to command your internal state, you begin to create by intention and not by reaction. And, as if that weren't enough, we're going to explore the correspondence law, which states that what is outside is a reflection of what is inside. The relationship that arrives, the type of love you attract, the situations that repeat themselves, all of this reflects the way you treat yourself, perceive yourself, allow yourself. Throughout the video, you will realize how these laws are not just distant spiritual concepts. They are practical codes, applicable, real tools to transform your energy, your field, and with that, your experience of love. You will learn to identify when you are vibrating emotional scarcity, how to reposition your internal identity, and how to make the universe respond with synchronicities, encounters, and experiences aligned with who you are. Decided to become. And maybe, as you listen to this story, something inside you will start to move too, as if you recognize this code. As if you already know, deep down, that reality doesn't happen against you. It responds to you. And if this idea makes sense, if at any point in this video something really touched you, a memory, a feeling, a desire to change inside, write it down in the comments. Tell me what you felt, what you experienced, what you would like to change, because each comment here is not just an exchange, it is a field that expands. It is more people vibrating together. Like this video, if it has made you think differently, if it reminded you that love cannot be begged for, it can be felt. When you like it, YouTube understands that this content matters, and it starts delivering it to more people who, like you, are awakening. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Here, each video is more than a story. It's a piece of a bigger puzzle. A journey of reconnection with your power, with your code, with your essence. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow. It's what keeps this mission of spreading hidden truths and real stories alive. And now, come back with me. Because what happened after their meeting could change everything you believe about love and destiny. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject. Because what happened to her was not just a pretty story. It was a pattern break. A silent shift in the logic that most of us have learned about love. She was not vibrating neediness, nor was she trying to control the signals. She simply decided to feel what I wanted to live, before seeing any concrete proof of it. And that changes everything. Because in this state of inner certainty, of confident surrender, reality has no other choice. It needs to reorganize itself. This woman, like so many others, had already experienced rejection. She had tried to please, to adapt, to chase, to be what the other person wanted. I had already felt that muffled pain of looking at my cell phone and not seeing any messages. She had already been in relationships in which she felt alone, even when she was with someone. But one day, she got tired. Not of loving, but of leaving herself behind in the name of being loved. And it was there, at that point of sacred exhaustion, that she made a silent choice to treat herself as someone who was already loved. Not because someone chose her, but because she decided to vibrate as if she already was. She started making 2 cups of coffee in the morning, one for herself, and one for the love that wasn't there yet physically. Every now and then, she wrote notes as if he existed. She smiled into the void with grateful eyes, as if she were receiving invisible affection, not out of need, but because it made her feel what she knew she would one day experience. And that, energetically, was what was changing everything. Because the universe doesn't respond to desperate requests. It responds to vibrational coherence. At the same time, she stopped consuming content that reinforced the pain. She no longer wanted stories of suffering, abandonment, and disillusionment. Her focus was now different. Transformation, alignment, decision. She wanted to learn to be before having. And this began to reconfigure her field. Friendships changed. Environments changed. The thoughts that had previously imprisoned her lost strength. And suddenly, an ordinary day took on the tones of a miracle. She left without expectations. She was centered, full, connected. And it was in a coffee shop, when she bumped into someone by chance, that it all began. The encounter was quick. But the feeling, overwhelming. It was as if he already knew her. As if his gaze said, "I recognize you." And he said something that paralyzed everything inside. "I always felt that I was already your husband." She swallowed hard. That was it. Reality was just confirming what she already felt, even without knowing how, even without proof. It wasn't magic, it was resonance. He came because she was ready. This may sound like a movie, but in reality, it's the energetic backstage of real life that no one teaches you. Because while many are trying to force reality to respond, there are others who are learning to command the internal frequency that they create. It's not about having control, it's about being in coherence. And when that happens, manifestation doesn't come as a response. It comes as a consequence. Comment here. I'm on this journey too. I want to know if this makes sense to you too. Because what happened after this encounter will reveal even more about what really attracts and what repels true love. Perhaps what hurts us the most is not the absence of the other, but the absence of ourselves while we wait for the other to arrive. There are people who spend their entire lives searching for love, trying to resolve their needs with the presence of others, when in fact what they lack is not company, it is coherence. Have you ever stopped to think about this? Have you ever felt that what you desire so much is so close, but it seems like there is something invisible preventing it from happening? It could be that this something is you, still vibrating the absence of what you say you want to experience. It's hard to admit, I know, but it's also liberating. Because the moment you understand that it's your vibration that shapes your experiences is the same moment that everything starts to change. And not from the outside in, as we've learned, but from the inside out, as has always been the truth. How many times have you found yourself in a cycle where you make an effort, give of yourself, wait for the return, and it never comes? Or worse, it comes in the form of crumbs, of absence disguised as presence, of unfulfilled promises. This doesn't happen because the universe wants to punish you. It happens because your energy is still speaking louder than your words. And the universe understands vibration, not intention. This woman in the story only experienced that encounter because she became compatible with him before he even existed in her physical life. It's not magic, it's vibrational. Logic, it's mentality combined with emotion. And this applies to everything, not just love. It applies to work, money, and emotional healing. The frequency you sustain in the silence of your day is the frequency that the universe hears. And maybe you're there right now, wondering why you keep repeating the same patterns. Why, even though you're doing everything right, things don't flow. Maybe the answer lies in your field, in what you feel inside when no one is looking, in the way you treat yourself when you're alone, in what you believe is possible when no one is promising you anything. Because it's in that silent, intimate, raw place that reality begins to be written. It's not about trying harder. It's about Beckham Morethan, what you are used to vibrating. This is the hidden truth that no one tells you. That your external reality is just a reflection of an internal energetic framework. And what you experience, repeat or lose, is connected to what you believe you deserve. This hurts to hear, but it frees you. Because it puts you back at the center of creation. It gives you back control. And it is from this place that transformation begins. Comment here. That makes sense to me. I want to know if this reflection also hit a sensitive point somewhere out there. Because the way the universe responded to this change in her state shows us something even deeper about how reality mirrors our invisible choices. Let's delve even deeper. Because this is where magic stops being magic and starts to be understood as a spiritual science. And when I say science, I mean something exact, a pattern, an invisible logic that governs every encounter, every absence, every coincidence that you have ever experienced. The law of mentalism teaches us that everything begins in the mind, but not in the logical, rational mind. It begins in the creative mind, the one that thinks with images, that feels before having, that builds reality behind the scenes of consciousness. And this woman, who seemed only intuitive, was actually operating this principle masterfully. She built an internal relationship. Before living it externally, she experienced the emotion of love before love had a face. And this is what most people ignore. It's not about thinking positive. It's not about repeating affirmations while inside you're a wreck. It's about the vibration you sustain. And here comes the law of vibration. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. What you vibrate when you're alone, what you feel when you look in the mirror, what you believe when no one is looking, That's what shapes the field around you. It's what designs the encounters, defines the invitations, the glances, the silences. And the universe, with mathematical precision, organizes everything according to this frequency. She didn't have to convince anyone. She didn't have to play games or manipulate time. She just had to sustain an inner identity long enough until reality had no choice but to follow suit. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to effort, it responds to alignment. And when someone aligns, the response comes, not by magic, but by coherence. What seemed like destiny in this case was simply the natural result of an energetic decision. When she assumed the identity of the woman she already loved, she sent out a signal so clear, so pure, that everything around her began to adjust. People began to leave her life, spaces opened up, and then he appeared. Like a magnet pulled not by words, but by a specific vibration she was emitting. And he came not because she asked for him, but because she became him. This is what almost no one talks about. That you don't have to wish harder, you have to become more aligned. Because the field responds to the congruence of thought, emotion, and identity. And when that happens, manifestation is no longer a distant dream, it's an inevitable consequence. And that's what makes it so powerful, because it doesn't depend on the other person. It doesn't depend on time. It just depends on you. Choosing to move from the inside out. Comment here. I'm on this journey too. Because what comes after this understanding shows, with even more clarity, how the universe moves exactly when you finally understand who you really are. And the most impressive thing of all is that when he finally showed up, there was no surprise. In her there was recognition. It wasn't the kind of encounter where everything is new, where you have to figure out if there's a connection. It was like rediscovering something that had always existed. As if, somewhere in time, they had already chosen each other. The truth is that the connection was already made before the touch, before the look, before the first word. Because in the vibrational field, encounters happen long before they become visible. What we experience out here is just the delayed reflection of what we've been vibrating inside for days, weeks, sometimes even lifetimes. They didn't meet by chance. They met by vibration. Because she didn't expect to be loved, she already was. There was no longer that hidden desperation in her eyes, that longing for validation. She no longer needed to be chosen. She had already chosen herself. And that is the silent turning point that changes everything. The love that arrives doesn't fill, doesn't save, doesn't fill holes. It only mirrors. And what she felt, deep down, was exactly that. I am love. I am presence. I am enough. And the universe, obedient as always, responded, he said. That he had felt for a long time that he was already her husband. As if somewhere in his consciousness, even without knowing her name, he carried the vibration of their encounter. And this is not madness, it is physics, it is a field. It is the resonance of two consciousnesses that were vibrating in tune without knowing it. What many people call coincidence, destiny, is just the visible manifestation of an invisible alignment. And that is why, sometimes, things take time, not because the universe does not want to deliver you, but because there is still not enough coherence between what you feel and what you want to experience. She didn't do anything that seemed extraordinary. She didn't change the world. She didn't climb mountains. She just stopped fighting absence and started cultivating presence. The presence of a love that didn't yet exist outside, but was already burning inside. And that's the secret that no one wants to tell you, because it's simpler than it seems. You don't have to chase love. You have to become compatible with it. And being compatible isn't about pleasing. It isn't about giving in. It isn't about waiting. It's about aligning yourself with the most complete, most conscious, most vibrationally elevated version of who you are. When this happens, encounters stop being chaotic and become clear. Connections stop being suffering and become a mirror. And love, finally, stops being a search and becomes recognition. Because the right frequency doesn't hide you, it reveals you. And when you reveal yourself, the universe doesn't delay. It responds. It always responded. You just needed to remember who you are. And the rest comes. If you've made it this far, it's because this story touched you deeply. And that, to me, says a lot about your journey. If this content made sense to you, if it brought you clarity, connection, or even that feeling that this is what I needed to hear today, leave a like. This helps this type of message to continue reaching those who are also on this path of awakening. And if you feel like you belong in this space, where each story reveals a code, subscribe to the channel. Here we don't just talk about theories. We translate vibration into reality and transform spirituality into lived experience. I want you to be with me in the next chapters of this journey. Right here in the comments, this message was for me, just so I know that you stayed with me until the end. And that, somehow, the story found a mirror inside you too. And look, there's a video here that complements all of this. Click and continue with me there. Because the next story also carries a secret that can change the way you see love and yourself.